2. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel, the RDDC, the RDDC. You know who it is. Your co-host, I think that's my title, Hector Rivera, with the one and only Lexus T, the one y'all love, the one y'all adore, the one that spits that game from above, Lexus T.
Yeah, I should have my clapping hands.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that wonderful intro, Heck versus Hell with the truth. You almost tell. I'm
Of
just kidding.
course.
But yeah, we're on here. And what is this going to be? Everyone is wondering if you haven't seen the title yet. It's the Truth Seekers Mastermind Conversation Alliance. And it's actually not conversation, but alliance. So Heck's going to lead us off and get us going in the double doses to flip the switch on some Truth Seekers Mastermind. Oh,
That's
bars.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever you're listening to this on Pandora, Chromecast, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes Radio, anywhere, SoundCloud, anywhere in between. Hi. Uh,
Did you say
today's conversation.
did you say Chromecast?
Isn't that what it is?
Google Cast? That's kind of it's still the same
Okay.
company, but yeah, it's kind of cute. I never heard that one.
I've been saying that I think on HVH. So
I mean, Google is
oops.
Chrome and Chrome is Google. So hey, you're not
True.
wrong. I just thought it was
True.
unique. I just thought it was unique.
Okay. Well, thank you for the correction.
iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Spreaker.com. You know,
Uh-huh.
iTunes, iHeart. I said it already.
That's all I
SoundCloud,
know.
wherever you are at. Thank you for your listening ears and YouTube as well. I know the YouTube community,
Oh
you
yeah.
might be having audios and videos, and like I said before, it's a work in progress, but it is launching very, very soon. I can tell you that. So you can have all those different segments and categories that we're going to have on business, AI, different conversations to utilize what you can perpetuate yourself forward, and always first and foremost about the spirit and mental health as well as emotional and going on. So that's what's good with where we're at in our conversation, Mr. Hector.
Exactly. No, and that's true because if the spirit and the mental are not aligned or cannot stand, everything else will fall and crumble. That is
Um,
literally the foundation of our being because as we're spiritual beings living a human experience, not the other way around. So just a little quick reminder on that right there. Because I know we can get so caught up in the day-to-day basis with anxiety and troubles and all this other stuff to where we forget that. So just that quick reminder in there. But
Very true.
anyway, yes, we are going to have this great conversation that was brought to you by yours truly, not me, but yours truly, Lex. It's going to be called Compromise Perception.
Yes.
Ooh, I know, great name. Um, and it's going to be a really good conversation because it starts to get you to wonder how much of the life that you've been living is actually true. And for the most part, most people, it's gonna be very, very little of it. For most people, there are some people that actually have the proper foundations instilled on them from whether it be their parents or the people around them, but that's not many people. Okay, so most people are living and have been living in compromised perception. So don't trust your eyes, don't trust your heart, but trust the truth. And that's exactly what we're going to go into. So, I mean, one of the biggest ones that I can say when it comes to compromised perception, if you don't mind me continuing this intro on,
Hey, go ahead. We're in it.
one of the biggest things is uh, what we're taught to look at, what we're taught to value, right? And that could be anything from a monetary position to what we need to chase in terms of how we look. Um, and something as simple as even looking at history, right? Especially school, because school is one of those places where it teaches you and weeds out and focuses on different types of history. And I know that very well because I remember in school we would have these pages, right? We would have the history books, and there would be certain segments of history that would go on for a very long time, right? Like Christopher Columbus, okay? Christopher Columbus, that went on chapters and chapters of that whole little series. Yet the Trail of Tears was something that was only half a page or a page long. It was something that was really left out because they don't want you to focus on this type of thing. And that focus is exactly what causes our perception to be. We can shrug something off that is really major. And you can see it all the time too, not only in what we're taught, but even in contracts, right? That's why they say the small writing, the devil's in the details, whatever you want to say. It's those little points and factors that they make so minuscule, but they have to tell you the truth. It's the same way. They have to tell you the truth about that, or else later down the line, you're going to go, like, okay, and start questioning everything. Because
Yeah.
if they would have focused more so on those types of events, on all the lynchings that used to go on, because they would talk about all this Civil War stuff, but they wouldn't talk about the lynchings. They wouldn't talk about the bombings of churches that went on in those times when Jim Crow laws were trying to be passed. They wouldn't talk about all this stuff. They would focus on the bigger picture events and what they wanted you to focus on, which was presidencies, the actual abolishment in terms of figuratively speaking, not the actual hard work that had to go into it. And they teach you this to shrug off the important factors of what we really need to look at. So that is something that I see and have seen that really compromises our perception. And it could be anything, it could be from our parents to religion to schools, right? To the society that we live in, to the governmental standpoints of even, something more recent like COVID. So it's huge topic of conversation. That's why I like that we're on this right now. And of course, we are going to take a turn into something a little more, I'll say, debatable. Something a little more IUCIC, I think it's called. What is it? The True Israelites. You remember the ones that I think I told you about, the ones that they say they're the true Israelites and they wear purple linen and gold. You know which ones I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're gonna go into those different kinds of conversations too. But I wanna pass this on to you really quick because I feel like I've just been, kind of bogarting the whole episode so far. Um, so if you don't mind, I mean, give us your perception of what you see and how you could break it down of what has been compromised.
Well, it's not about passing it over to me. I mean, it's okay. I was actually sitting there nodding my head with you. We're gonna have more of a conversational basis. And anyone, as FYI, you hear any fan sound is because I do have it on. It is the Midwest where I'm at.
Yeah.
Humidity strikes, and it's not. It's actually a pretty decent day, but I have to have my fan on. It's just the way it is. Um,
Yeah.
but no, what you were saying is good. I was actually waiting for you to actually kind of roll out more, but I want you and I know we have our own stages that we have, and sometimes our conversations
Right.
come off directly like we're just which we are speaking to the RDDC family, FDS, Heck versus Hell community, as well. Of course, Truth Seekers Mastermind is a part of that journey. But
Mm-hmm.
we're speaking with you, to you, and abundantly too. So it's like his mind is, you got to say what you got to
I
say.
think that was actually more of like my intro, my long intro.
No,
So
that's not.
sorry
I
about
mean,
that.
I've seen, no, don't apologize because I've seen just yesterday on that quote Zoom. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy had a whole 35, 45 minute. I'm like, oh my goodness. I was laughing. I had to go make my food and everything. I'm like, okay. And it was just
Mm,
that. And people stayed on there over 95, almost 100 minutes. And I'm like, that's a long time. No, well, when you have truth to say, though, I almost said popcorn. But when you have truth to say, you can't cut it off or bundle it. I mean, if you want to proceed on with that, I definitely understand. Like you were saying, I wanted to get you to speak more about the ones who, and maybe you're one of them. Don't take offense, people. I'm just saying, like the people who call themselves the true Israelites that wear the
yeah.
purple, and different videos that have been circulating around. Because I
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
piggyback off
Yeah.
of
Let's
something.
start from there.
Well,
That's
I wanted
perfect.
to piggyback off of something you were saying, not to segregate those who are a part of that or believe in whatever's going on. It's just a conversation we're having to pick up. Because repeat the title again for us again, Heck.
This is hashtag compromise perception.
All right, everybody. Hashtag compromise perception. So let me
That's right.
give you a couple of little synopses that I do to get my juices flowing because we're revamping and we're relaunching, and things that have happened, the system messed up from trauma, anxieties, COVID, mental, spiritual, all kinds of stuff. So I gotta get my feet wet as well.
Oh yeah.
My spirit's always ready, but my humanity needs the shaking off. But so well, you're gonna read some of the notes that he had on different reminders, but it's the same thing too, and it's compromised perception, right? I keep saying distorted
Yes.
perception, and it's
Correct.
almost like that, but compromise.
DP. DP.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm gonna say this for example, for those who want some relation, you could be, and everybody, how it's been for years. We were all related to food. I'm gonna say it because it's universal. You all get hungry, okay, somehow, whether you drink shakes or the vegan or just a fruit person or whatever. You eat whole beef, steaks at the table. You understand what I'm saying? Which sounds pretty good right now. But if you're sitting at a table, if you go to someone's hyping you to go to this restaurant, or you have an advertisement, these are some examples, and you say, "Oh man, I can't wait to go." Compromised perception of that could also be, man, it's compromising the certain way that is coming off, but the whole atmosphere of where you come into is completely different. That's the same thing, and maybe it's not in the relatable form of food, but the compromise, I like distorted perception better because compromise, it's still good, but it kind of throws you off. So we're going to just go and just switch it over to distorted
All right.
perception.
Boom.
Yeah, because it is compromise from the distortion.
That's
So,
right, because we do what we want on the show. All right.
yeah.
Don't forget.
Hey,
No, that's true. That's true
true.
because we can see glimpses and pieces of the truth. So yeah, that I like that better.
So jumping into the true Israelites. Now, people want to base on this and say, "Oh, well, it's because they're quote black, or because I don't say morenitos very, very lightly. There's a difference between brown and black in my perception. It's all about mentality. It doesn't matter if you're quote Casper, the color of real white. Doesn't matter if you're green, yellow, purple. It's always a category. I know some quote Caucasianisms that don't resemble mentally or spiritually anything to do with what they would call a quote Caucasian. You are not based on a complexion. It's only your mental detection. It's a distortion, compromise to distortion. I'm going to add both of those in there. Your distorted view is this is the color I am. This is the hair texture. This is the category I'm in. So everyone is seeing me in a distorted perception. And in return, your perception is also distorted. So you carry yourself almost unconsciously and consciously to a point to where you're almost expecting to have the attitude that you think people carry about you already. Or maybe the stares and looks you get. Maybe they're looking at you because you got nice lips or unique way, and for some reason everybody's head turns. Some of us can feel. I can smell and feel. It's almost like I can feel and hear the thoughts of people. I don't mean to get on that level to where people say that, but I can't keep saying, "Oh, well, I'm nowhere." No, I am in the vision of trying to walk between, behind and in front of and by the side, not front of, but it's the side of where I need to go on my own lane. But I will say that the Christ life, not Christianity, Christ life, meaning the direct contact and direct relation and the Holy Spirit speaking to you, you do have that. So if Christ could feel the thing, he said, "Well, aren't you much more than I am or will be?" Like basically, you are me and I am you. You're just so stuck in the flesh from what happened from the beginning. I came here as the second Adam, they say, to renew that in the spiritual form and let you know, even though your flesh has fallen, even though it will never be back the same until I renew you, right now you have a choice, you have a chance in the spirituality of the new body. So you can do all these things, but you're so shackled down by the flesh that caught you up and you're just heavy with it. I'm separate from Christ. I'll never be this. I'll be dirty. I'm an ex-prostitute. I'm an ex-heroin. I'm an ex-drunk. And your distorted perception is always seeing you say, "Oh, I'm recovering." No, stop saying that. Because if you have literally let that go, you're not recovering. "Oh, I'm an ex-smoker. I'm an ex." Why do you got to put an X on anything? "Oh, I used to be married 4 times." Like one of the prophets I was talking to before has said, "Don't let anyone know your Genesis. You can let them know the foundation of where you started from, but don't let people think they know you so deep. Not to be deception, but people have a way of, hey, I know she likes strawberry ice cream on Thursday. I know her boyfriend be fighting every week, but they don't know the insides of how you guys cuddle, how your best friends have been through it all. They don't know that the ice cream you get is to commemorate the loss of your mother. They don't know that. until you tell them the details that they can't handle because their perception is so distorted. You're
Oh
never
yeah.
supposed to tell them that to begin with. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So when they say
Oh
that,
yeah.
true Israelites, yeah, the color and the being, every race and culture, everyone, open your mind, go do your homework on this. Don't just do some YouTube shorts and TikToks on it. Really go do it. And since it's been coming out, hashtag rest in peace, George Floyd, and many others, the whole thing is when you see it, the melanation of the skin, melanin in flesh, like per like basically half inch is worth like 500 at the time, 500 something dollars per like teeny little dot of skin or per square inch. So this guy was calculating that how people thought the world has said, even other cultures or an Oriental style, they still highlight the color of pale or light skin. But the thing we really want to have the conversation of, if you're listening this far in, and my dedicated loving ones for all of us who you hit us, thank you for being here and showing focus, is if, and I asked this, I wrote out to some ministries, I won't mention their names because I don't want to obviously make them feel like I'm calling them out. But you know, I almost said pero, tú sabes que, no, so, quieres hablar contigo ahorita, yeah, let's go. No, but if you look at it, we've always been taught. Now, people, race debate, whatever you want to say, is we're the human race regardless. Okay, so let's say complexion or
There we go.
tone skin debate, because that's what it is. Um,
Hmm.
if a white person or a quote black person, Latino, um, a person of Oriental descent or whatever it might be, right? We still have variation of who we are, but we could still give each other our body parts and blood for emergencies in the hospital. So it doesn't matter. At this point right now, if though, and I wrote to them and I said, man, I started noticing all the Christian, Catholic, Protestant, Jehovah Witness, Muslim, whatever it might be, doesn't matter what denomination you are. I said, well, how come now I always see one race, right? One color, should I say, on these kids episodes and all this other stuff and Christ's depiction of, you know, these blue eyes and blondish hair and the soft feminine look. And, you know, just it's whatever. I guess they wanted to say the lamb had a soft, gentle, you know, pushover. And Jesus was anything but a pushover. Let's be real about it. As much stuff
Yeah.
as Christ had come against him, as much stuff that he had to been beyond G up beyond general soldier status. There wasn't even a status level for what
Hmm.
he was and what he is. You can't even handle halfway paying a grocery bill, or your car breaking down, or your gas running out. Hell, you can't even deal with a coworker upsetting you or a person giving you road rage. So imagine what it feels like to carry the weight of the world and still have the world hate you because you're loving them beyond their hate.
Not only that, but I guarantee you, I'll say 18, 19 out of 20 men that you meet, maybe way, way less out of that many men that you meet, if they were faced with that type of persecution, they would have found some type of way to escape whenever they were, you know, whenever Christ was getting arrested. They would have found some type of way to escape because it's not a situation that you directly have, I guess you could say, consequences to it, because we would look at it from such a human perspective and go like, okay, I either live or I die, right? And most people, as it does say very clearly in the Bible, you know, if you want to save your life, you're gonna lose it. But that one who gives it up gains it. So it's the same way, you know, and that was something that's incredibly manly to do, to just go out there, stand, and take your punishment. And you know, Christ was he was G'd up for sure. You know, he was gangster. Um, just taking that from the beatings to knowing this in premonitions of what was to come, what was to be of his death. Like that's a such a crucial death, and the fact that the Romans actually invented that explicitly so that they can bring the most torturous amount of pain during an execution just goes to show how incredibly strong Christ was. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
and the flesh was, but always is. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Because a premonition would be for someone else having it. As far as the oracle itself, hearing God, but I mean, people will say, well, God, Christ came in the form of God, so it was a cheating factor. He was already God, so he knew it was going to happen. Yeah, but he also had the choice of man. He had the choice to say, this is not for me. But Christ would never made it to what the stages were. And I also know that the books that were missing, to know the gaps between all the years that happened to the 30th birthday of Christ, I know they're out there somewhere. I know. And some of them were taught, given out spillage here and there as I grew up throughout the years. But that's the whole thing. Would we, and I'm going to ask everyone else, and I'm going to ask you, heck as well, we're all in conversation, growing up in that mindset, if Christ came as anything else, would you believe that was Christ? Now, don't say, oh, it's distorted perception, remember? So what if it's the adversary? What if someone's, no, really. If you saw Christ as a man that had any kind of, let's just say, Middle Eastern look, would you be more prone to believe him? If he had a Japanese essence or from Chinese essence, whatever my friends from Vietnam would say, the Vietnamese swag.
That's a good question.
You know,
If it was like back in those days, I think I would have. But in these days, I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have believed that was Christ. You know, just
no, but that's
because.
the whole beauty of it.
Yeah.
If people look at the fact, you're always the most hated race, it seems to be the most taken from race and the most hated race. Love and hate wants to extract that. The ones that are most athletic, the most prominent, the most industry driven from that is the more melanation in them, right? The more people quote with the wider noses they want to say, or the wider wider people. If you can't understand what I'm saying, wide, you know, like and width, that thing. It's like, oh, well, they're highlighted. Well, no, look, you come from all of it. You stem from everywhere when it comes down to your ancestors. Regardless of you want to believe it or not, I would rather just know from the rooting of where I was than to just be in a distorted perception. I don't know. I mean, like honestly, I believe what Heck was saying. And Heck, I'm gonna tell you this much. If I would have, when I saw, and I believe, I felt it, Christ in the church when I was a little girl, and I was looking up trying to find him. And that man looked straight down at me, looking like the replica of what they say the Lamb of God looked like. I believed it. And if I had seen a black man, brown man, whatever, Latino man, I would have never believed it was Christ. That's a distorted perception. So when we get to this point now, if Christ was to come in the sky and you see a brown man up there, right? Well, mixed, looking like a mixture of all of our quote cultures out here, you'd be like, oh, I know that has to be deception. That's not him. And so for some reason, we have complexion detection mixed up with the light. God shrouded himself in darkness. And you want to find God, he hid himself in the dark. Why? You see darkness as a perception of, and that we do, we see darkness as like, you know, oh, you know, their minds in the dark. Oh God, anything with the dark, just run away from. It's scary. The light. Well, remember that. What was open? One thing that the adversary and his minions know is that we as humans are always willing to give anything for knowledge. Adam and Eve proved that. Knowledge seeking, even if it's not the truth. We just want to be nosy about it, or we got to know, but we already have it within us. It was the trust that we needed to have in that garden, you know. So I don't know, Heck. I mean, at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, that's a good point to go across too, though, because if you think about it, all was created in the darkness. Not only that, but the darkness, what people say, right? It's not that you fear the darkness, it's that you fear what's within it. So not only do it was creation made in the darkness, but we create what's in the and what comes from the darkness. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a really good, it's a really good point to look at, because I mean, think about it too, of the perception of, I believe that Adam and Eve had a type of glow to them, and they were ignorant, right? They were ignorant like children. They were created like children. They didn't have that type of knowledge, even to the point where they didn't even know that they were naked. And that's how God wanted us to be, is just like children, obedient, you know, curious and still wanting to learn, but to the fact of where right or wrong wasn't such a bad thing, because we can learn from it, if that makes sense. So same way, right? If a kid goes and he's just looking at his parents, what they do or whatever, and he goes and he spanks a little girl on the bottom, for example, right? He sees mommy do that to, or daddy do that to mommy, but he doesn't know it's wrong. you can't really punish the kid all the way because they don't know, right? They're learning. It's the same way that ignorance,
It's a true
and
fact as well.
it was in light, if that makes sense. It was
Yeah,
within
I
the
mean,
light.
it wasn't. It never said in the Bible that it was. Hey, it was dark in the night, and some serpent came, but she didn't know it was a serpent because it was a dark. But then
Yeah.
people also Jim Crow stipulations. Well, the deeper the complexion, even though we know it means more enlightenment, more knowledge, and some people, even though they're the deepest dark chocolate you ever seen, some of them just have it innately and don't even know how to tap into it. So don't get it twisted. Every person walks around here in a vibrational cusp. At the same time, think about that. Everything that's stipulated with that. It's funny though. You get your aphrodisiac from all those things. And what is the most highest aphrodisiac? Dark chocolate. Think about that. I mean, one of the things that go ahead and when you have a clam, you have oysters, a high aphrodisiac. Guess what? That oyster meat is stuck inside the mouth of the dark clam at the bottom of the water, right? It's always a perception of complexion detection. More people have to learn how to love themselves. But if you think about it, if you're after one person, someone's at your job, for example, and heck, I always say heck, you're over here, you're working, you're doing your thing, and I'm hating on you constantly. And you're like, what is it? You know, she don't like me. Well, I'm hating on you constantly because I know you can work better. You're doing the
Mhm.
office supplies better. You're moving better. You have a better attitude frequency. So if you think about it, the most hated conversation there is people who are melanated. And that's every cultural group. It's not just focused on quote, but not well, they're not the people from Africa who have come to America, no matter what complexion you are, they're African Americans. But the browns that were here, the brown natives that were here, the brown that has African descent that were here, that's what it is. Because there are black natives that were originally here from the beginning, like Columbus had stated, and many others. At the same time, it's like you look at that and you think, why are these people so hated? Why was the Bible used against them to keep slavery moving and for them to serve their master? And why? Because you had to depict
Mhm.
Christ as saying, Christ, look at Christ. He looks like me, so you're my slave. Look at Christ. This is the weight of the world that we have, and you're meant to just be. And they succumb to that. People say, well, why did they let these things happen to them? And there's obviously more explanations. But at the same time, if you're meant to believe that the master of your creation made things for it to be like that, even though you know you had a different experience when you weren't born into those confines, man, what happened? Because I remember people, only 800,000 to 900,000 of the slaves came from the continent, quote, or the detached continent, Africa itself. There was already the quote brown or blacks here from the natives, and then came on Siberia later on from the traveling. So they were mixed in with each other. That's why you have a lot of deep brown melanated, more Siberian Orientalist natives that walk around. Most of them, and my friends in the Philippines can concur, most of them show me their grandparents that look just like you would see a brown man with bone straight hair. It's the whole thing, Chinese, everything. So when you go against the distorted perception, you're looking at it like, oh, well, it's not about that. It's not about what color Christ is. It's about what you'll be deceived with and about
Oh
what you
yeah.
have. You know what I mean? Your perception.
And
And if you're looking
mhm.
at yourself as a person of European descent right now, like, oh, well, that's it. Well, no, if everything has been, quote, whitewashed, then you have to really look at yourself and say, man, where was I at? Would I be deceived right now? Am I not? Or you're a person who's against cultures and you think it's only one way? Well, I'm not going to serve no brown God or this and that. It's not the point of that. The point is who Christ is within. The distorted perception is keeping you so off keel. So if
Yep.
Christ ever popped up, you'd be like, no, that's not him. And then in your mind, you only hold a certain perception of Christ. Actually, Christ can be seen every time you close your eyes and allow the Holy Spirit to come within you and really seek after it in prayer and deep meditation, prayer and the conversation of speaking with the Holy One and trying to connect with no distractions, just taking you off your keel and meditating and getting to that point to where you can open up that vision of where you are. Why do you think it's okay for us? And I told Heck about this earlier, actually, just not too long ago. What did I tell you about this morning? Wasn't I? Remember later about closing your eyes. I don't want to say
Yeah,
visualize
that was
because
earlier.
yeah, people getting to the point of like, oh, visualize. They make everything so stagnated. But I'm saying like, if why can we close our eyes right now and be on a white sand beach and we can picture it and try it right now, everybody, if you want to. You can pause this, or if you're playing live, whatever is going on, try it. And you know, right now, just even me saying it, you're picturing a virgin pina colada, you're picturing a margarita or whatever you want. You're picturing sitting right now on a white sand beach in a beach chair looking at the beautiful ocean. Come over there. just come waves crashing over. You can actually hear it in your ear. You can actually smell it in your breeze system if you wanted to. Why is it that you can transport yourself there in a matter of milliseconds, like light? But when it comes down to where we are right now, our distorted perception lets us know, oh, it's just a dream. Oh, it's just in our minds. But doesn't everything start in the mind? Everything starts from within. That's pretty much my work on it right now. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean everything's like a dial. You always got to dial everything. And so yeah, you can always look at the point of everything being persecuted towards the darker you are, right? We've had so many conversations about that. But that's why I did bring up to the Israelites, because like you were saying, right, it's a perception of what's on the inside, because one of their beliefs actually, and one of the things that they
Yeah,
really
enlighten
push
us, heck, enlighten us. I want to know.
is the fact that they believe that the more melanin you have, and I'm going to say it like that, the more melanin you have, the more direct descendant and true Israelite you are. And really it just goes to show how ignorant they are, in the sense of they don't read the
Wait
Bible
a
to
minute.
what they need to
Pause.
get to.
Pause. Pause. Wait. Repeat that again for the people in the back. I want to hear this again, please. It's not funny, but my tickle senses are like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Go ahead. The
Yeah,
more
I mean,
motivated
it
you
just
are.
shows how ignorant they are, because they're not reading the proper depth of the Bible. They're not using the spirit as the legend and the key to unlock what's truly being said in the Bible. Because you can just go to Acts, right? We'll go to Acts, and it talks about the same thing that they're doing is what the Pharisees were doing. Oh, you have to be XYZ. You have to be a direct bloodline. You have to be from this family. You have to follow down the law to the T. And that's what they're doing too. They're segmenting themselves and saying, okay, well, now because you have something that you cannot control and you were born that way, you cannot be a part of the kingdom of heaven. We, as people that have dark and deep and rich melanation, we are the true children of God, and that is not what God preached. Christ did not come down here saying this is an exclusive group. This is a very private group that only exclusive members can get into. No, he gave Simon Peter the dream to see and look at reptiles and amphibian and all these unclean creatures and say, go hunt and eat. Go hunt and eat. And he meant it in a metaphorical way to say, go preach to the Gentiles, to the uncircumcised people that do not follow our customs and tradition, that are not direct bloodline of us, to bring them into the kingdom of heaven, to expand the kingdom's culture into them and touch them and allow them to be reborn in the spirit as well. So it's not an exclusive group as these people, and that's why I wanted to bring them up. It's not an exclusive group as these people sense it to be, because on one side, if our view is so distorted where we're seeing, okay, well, we're always getting persecuted, we can go back to these days and go, a couple hundred years back, we're the ones being persecuted. Christ said, you shall be persecuted. Oh, it must be us. It's that distorted perception, because we were never supposed to look at humans in different clans of race. We are just one human race. A different race would be something like the Nephilim, something like centaurs and minotaurs. Those would be different races. Cyclops, giants, those are different races. We're not a different race amongst ourselves. It's something that we were led to believe. There's been so many recent findings of even giants in terms of skeletons and fossils that they just cover up. They say, it's not going to attract enough attention, just because they want to keep not only the perception of race being diversified within ourselves as human beings, but also the fact that they can't put that in there because of Darwin's Darwin's whatever it's called, theory of evolution, right? They can't do that because it's going to destroy their whole foundation of what they're trying to build upon us. So that's the distorted perception as well. And if we go and we look at it, right, going back to it, if we go and we look at it like them, like, oh, we're being persecuted, from that pain and from that anger, from that resentment, it allows you to completely go all the way and overshoot what it truly is. You don't heal, you don't go and forgive as Christ taught. It's through forgiveness that we can actually be able to let go of the things that hurt us, the things that filthed us, made us filthy, the things that compromised and distorted our perception to begin with. That's where we can look at that and see, okay, we have to be able to forgive these types of things and not look so deep into it like, oh, well, it must be the opposite. Because it's the same thing, the devil will tell you 9 truths and 1 lie, and that's how he gets you. So we can't just look at it as, okay, well, if this isn't the case, it has to be the complete opposite. Because just as we see it, even in the history text of what I was mentioning at the beginning, they still drop a teeny bit of truth just to allow you to actually have to have the key, have to have the Holy Spirit to be able to interpret what's truth and what's false. And that's why I say these IUCIC, I don't even know what it's called, they're ignorant because they don't have the Holy Spirit in them, or if they do, they're just not adhering to it because they're creating their own clan where they're saying, okay, well, if you're lacking melanin, you're not God's people, and we're gonna talk against you, and we're gonna say all this stuff, and this is what it is, us being this, and they put themselves on a pedestal above everyone else, and that's where it can get really dangerous
Well,
because that's where pride comes in, right?
yeah, but I have to reverberate on that. Absolutely. What you said has its own measure and meat. But also, ignorance, as we know, means the act of not, well, basically in the state of not knowing better.
Correct. Yep.
I think a lot of them, from what I've got a chance to look them up throughout time, they're saying the original people that were created, God's true people, meaning they were the ones chosen to be in that segment. And people extended it. I'm not saying you can do your homework, I don't know, but a lot of them came out saying people who have accepted Christ and God's true people. Now their ignorance will come into the, oh, it's only us. And remember, those same people that were supposed to be Christ's people are the ones who try to persecute him and hang him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those who have accepted the bloodlines of who are, whatever, people come out, their whole bloodline's related to that dark, deep, and melanated person. But in this system now, you can't tell that there's a drop of melanin in them. So yeah, I do see the cusp of that, where it's just
Oh
this
yeah.
and that and color. And I think too, a lot of people of color, and this is for all of my people of color, of any kind of color you say, any raza, whatever it might be, that's what it is. Okay. Well, anything that's non-European descent, right? I'll just say that. You might have it in your blood, but I'm saying like the overall, when someone sees you, they don't think about it. That kind of thing. Disclaimer, if you're sensitive about this conversation, you are free to leave whenever you want. And if you have any further questions, reach out to us at Real Double Dose Channel at yandex.com or flip the switch at Reborn. That's flip the DA switch at reborn.com for any inquiries that you want to conversate about for that. Any open comments disrespectful will be removed, rejected, and blocked. So back to, I just want to say for that, negative stipulation, you can open your mind. But at the same time, for that, I think in it, not really thinking, but brown or quote blackness, I'll say, even Latinos, right? I say that I know I'm also partially or fully one in my heart and culturally, I still have my native blood as well, and I still have my trinkets of Irish creams. I have different things going on from my Brazilian, my Portuguese, my Spain. Oh yeah, it's deep. Chinese in there too. So I look at all that and I'm thinking, and culturally, I grew up so diversified. It's amazing. I mean, a lot of women that I grew up with, even as a child, that would sit there at the table while they made me beautiful dishes from Korea or different places like that, or even going over to my friends that came from Cambodia, different ones from Spain, Venezuela, Portugal. Like I grew up in a different, I always wanted to learn from other people and see how their life was sitting at their dinner tables the way it really was. Overall, it's been so downplayed, even in Jamaica. I'm just going to say it's huge there. Other places too, but They literally are killing themselves just to try to get a different complexion with this bleaching cream. I mean, to the point of where their skin can't even handle the sun because they're trying to just be looked at as different, and it makes them look like a complete different person on a whole negative scale. For the people who are repping this true Israelites, the men in the purple, the whatever they are, I think also it comes from the aggression inside of just being so upset that you've been downplayed as a person of color because of your color. You've been taught from the beginning, you're
Oh
not,
yeah.
even from slavery, you're not God's people. You're just chosen to be our slaves. You're just the after byproduct of what is. I
And we
think
can
that
even look
also.
at what's her name, Ellen G. White. What was
Mhm.
the story you were telling me about that?
Okay, Ellen G. White mostly comes from a 7 day ministry concept of what I can understand growing up. And she has different books like Steps to Christ, different ones. And don't get me wrong, it's deep, but let's be real about it. Melanation comes along with the intuition of the pineal glands and different things that are downloaded, and how the energy of life, the sun, everything vibrates differently in melanated skin. It's been beyond even Christian-fied scientifically proven. It downloads codes of information deeper. So yeah, the absence of melanin, you are most likely to not have those different deep down. It doesn't mean the Holy Spirit can't still work in you, but by design, it's that, because trees weren't designed for air or food. Trees were designed for knowledge through the food. Remember that. The tree. Why is the fruit so important? Why did it take the eating of the fruit for the knowledge to be reserved? So that what we see now in the perception of what we think it is here is a very, very big scale. And every time you look outside, there's always a tree somewhere, isn't it? There always has to be a tree for our existence to still be, regardless of what people say is about oxygen. Oxygen is going to come whether we want to or not. Whatever might happen. But yeah, it's something about the significance of it. But Ellen G. White, she had, I guess, some accident happened. I'm not sure what, I forgot how it happened. I've been hearing 100 times. I don't know why I don't remember right now, but something happened where she had like a little bit of an accident or something happened. And after like her head injury or her injury, she could like see visions and the whole, basically her head got knocked into the next dimension, right? But we also found out in that for years later, she was actually taking the information from a quote black man or a slave or ex-slave at the time. And he was having all these revelations and visions. He's actually Ellen G. White. She's the voice and the inspiration, second or third dairy. But he couldn't even come out and tell the truth because he would have been hung, persecuted, or anything. Oh, this came from a black man? This came from a man. Well, we get our information from that. That's why the ministry got so big. And even though he's talked about later on, he still was never been able to be put out there as the person that really was given this insight. God knew that he
Mm,
needed to have a Caucasian woman or whatever at the time come speak the truth to the voice of what's going on. She had to be the platform.
she was his Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But at the same time, Aaron understood who the first one was, whereas he still was given a slop jar. That's the sad thing about those
Mm,
things. But people in general, what Heck and I are trying to say to you too, distorted perception is anything you want to believe. If you want to believe that your spouse is being real with you, it's different between being paranoid and paranoia from, hey, I know my husband usually would come home for lunch and he's not now, not answering his phone. I know my wife would typically think about making dinner for the kids, but now she's doing something else around that time, and we're kind of just left here. And you're digging, and there's something going on. They're on the phone more. They're doing this more. They're wearing different clothes, different. They don't want to touch me like that. Something's going on. I'm trying to dig. Distorted perception is just sitting there pretending everything is okay, and then being upset about the distortion you taught yourself to nip it in the bud, even though it wasn't right for them. Okay, I'm gonna go sit down and have something to eat. I know this food tastes like someone put, okay, just disclaimer, common cleanser or some bleach in here, but I'm still gonna eat it. My distortion perception is telling me this food is good, even though my body and my spirit are telling me get away and go from this table and throw it up right now.
mm,
Okay. Same thing. I know that my mind needs to be open to everything that's out there because I could be talking to strangers who are angels. And obviously be cautious, but I could be sitting there, but because I see them, oh, you and I don't get along. Is your distorted perception? We're not supposed to be. Your distorted perception is when you're sitting out there looking for a green truck, as Heck had written down. Different things I said, the spirit be flowing when it does, right now it's kind of more of
yeah.
that Gabrielle X factor going on. I can feel I can feel it. It's probably just the Jones coming out. But If you're looking for how about this? Your Prince Charming, your Princess Charming, okay? And you're sitting here like, oh yeah, mommy's about to be fine. Like I'm looking for her. She's gotta have a Coca-Cola bottom figure, big old boobs just sitting out. Okay, I'm being a little extra, but that's what it's. Oh, I'm looking for her. Her hair should be this way. You're literally painting the vision of who you want based on why you think you want them. Oh, it's okay, Lex. What do you mean? I should be able to paint the vision, right? Paint the vision and what God will send your way because it's meant for you in a better, healthier form that still has just as much beauty as the perception of what the world tells you their distorted perception is.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I mean, we don't even know, well, some of us
Well,
don't know what styles we like. We don't know what kind of things we really do.
yeah.
We don't know anything because it's like, oh, well, this is what the world tells us we should look like. And now we're having more of a
Hmm.
voluptuous acceptance, different things, different this, and disability acceptance. It's like it always was accepted. The perception lets you understand every time you check in the internet or whatever else is telling you, oh, look at this magazine style. Oh, it's just a nice purse. It's just a lady posing. Yeah, but why does she have to have a rib cage sticking out posing in front of you half naked? That's what I'm saying. The
Yeah,
purse is the point. So why
that's
do I have
true.
to see everything else? Okay, the eyelashes are the point. So why do I got to see her lick her lips and move her hair back all silky? What is that
What
about?
was that one video you sent me? There was like this
Sex
one chick
appeal?
in
Yeah.
yoga pants. She was like in yoga pants and she was showing off. I think it was like a truck or something. But she
Yeah.
was over here posing with her butt all out, right in
Yeah.
front of
I'm
the
like,
truck, talking
it's
about
almost
this
like,
is a fort.
yeah, not even paying attention. And you're basically telling people my product sucks. I just want you to focus on her so you think it's something good. It's like,
Yeah, and it's that same kind of training too. Yeah, you get whenever you train yourself to get dopamine from certain things, like we're already trained, most of us, or if we're so stuck in the world, we're trained to get dopamine from certain things, right? And that would be one of them, seeing something like that that's so much put out there. Okay, this is what I was taught to like, I'm going to start liking it. We get that dopamine in us, and now they start to combine it with a little bit of what they want you to get, right? So they go and they even the putting like that truck, right? Oh, well, now you know what? Now I think I kind of like that truck. So it
yeah.
it really starts, yeah,
Well,
it
I haven't
starts
gotten
wrapping
on the
it
men
together.
yet either. You know why? It does. But here's the start of
Yeah.
this. Oh, I see this dude with a six pack. Oh, look at him. Dude is fine. Oh, look at him. Boom, boom, boom. He got a nice curvature in his jawline. Oh, look at him. Boom, boom, boom. He has a nice stature. His hair, da, 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 da. Oh, I like his swag. I like his boots. He probably got some money. I like his watch. But then all the while you're admiring what you think that you want because you think the world tells you should look like that female, and only a man of that stature would want a female like that, then you're distorted again. So you're sitting here trying to go to the gym, I still don't feel happy. I lost 100 pounds. I still don't feel happy. I gained 50 pounds and trying to get my Brazilian butt lift and my boob lifts. And I just don't feel any different because you never change. Your distorted perception will never change. As long as it's
Mm,
distorted, it'll never go. So I always tell people the same thing they say. You want the same results, keep doing what you're doing. So same
that's
recipe.
true.
Why are you going to continue to make your cake without the hiding or the flour, right? Why are you going to try to make it without the eggs? Why? Even though you said, well, I took out the eggs and I added extra butter, but the recipe called for eggs. Oh, I took out the salt, little pinch of salt, and I put that in with some oregano. Okay. At the end of the day, you're still not going to get what the recipe was supposed to be because your distorted perception is as long as I follow some of the direction, I'll get what I really want, even though what I really desire is the
Hmm.
full direction of that recipe. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
crazy. So look at in your life as we come to this conclusion of conversation. Maybe this will be a part two. We don't know. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
see.
I think it's going that way actually.
Yeah, it will. But for the sake of me needing to nibble on something, I'm not gonna lie about that. I've been on an almond kick. I'm actually craving some little baby dill pickles. That's been my little relaxation thing. But my food's been up and down at that point. But to have that kick, and I'm not saying I'm ending it based on my appetite. People say, don't be mad like that. We've been here, and I want you to be able to download enough for your ears and not,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
have that go on. But I want you to look at in your life, and Hector asks you what you want, and I'm gonna do it myself. We're all gonna do this. Look at our life and look at the distorted perceptions that we have based on the evidence. Truth will always seek itself out. You don't have to go to a book. God will instill that in you to let you know the truth before any other words come. Let the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. I also will say, with going on with the Bear Spirit rollout we have, that was something I wanted to do. Now with Seed Hearts, I'll say it like that. It comes down to taste and see that the Lord is good. I want to say phenomenal, extraordinary, great. But the overall subject is no matter where you are in it, it's not about denomination. It's about where you want to go for your elevation. And if you really want to walk with the truth seekers in your mind, meaning the truth seekers mastermind means look deeper into the details, not the videos that show up and the brutalities and the irritations and the, no offense, Jason Derulo little ads he does and everybody wants to talk about the guy. I'm just saying, it's like different stuff that goes on. At the end of the day, I wanted to walk without ever having to see a color, but the color always saw me. Meaning a person would just be babies when they have babies experiment, they're hanging out. The kid doesn't say, "My mommy, what's the difference?" Oh, he had a pink shirt, a blue shirt, and I had a yellow one. The kid doesn't see any difference. His skin's
That was
darker,
actually
you know.
it's funny you say that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's funny you say that
But
because
you
there's
did.
actually
You did. Uh
these two little boys,
huh.
and one was darker, melanated, really melanated, and black hair, and the other kid he was a lot less melanation and blonde hair, and they went and they dressed up in the same clothes, and they went to school like that, and they were trying to like kind of prank, quote unquote, the teacher to dress the same so she couldn't tell them apart.
That's sweet.
And it shows the innocence of that mind. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what I hope to open up when we get there. I don't want us to have people. The ugliness that we grow on us has been the ugliness that's been planted from the beginning.
Yeah.
What we all need to do is stop seeing the distortion. Act as though the stuff what Hector said, what I was saying as well. That's what it should be. And it's not about this conversation shouldn't be about, oh, well, it's about if God's really brown or if this is the no, I want you to look at the deceptions that we have. Even from that the most important thing ever is to know what Christ is coming in life. I'm not saying Christ can't come to you in a form where you would understand him in your mind. But if your mind's really in the right place with your spirit, you wouldn't worry about what color Christ came in anyway. You wouldn't be
That's a
worried about
beautiful
that.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you
That's
wouldn't
a
be like,
beautiful
oh,
way to wrap it all together because if you're focusing on this conversation to see it as is Christ brown, then your distorted perception is already in place.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because I'm like, if you just got it from there, no, what is the wrap up? The wrap up is there is, like I say, no big sin or little sin. Every sin is a sin. So people get upset about that. What do you mean? A person who kills a whole school full of kids should get the same thing as someone robbing for a piece of gum? A sin is a sin regardless. And the
Mm-hmm.
price of the measurement of why things happen, we are not God. We are God's little minions of the particles of God. We don't make the overall creation of the creator. He gave us the power. They gave us the power to be able to be a creator of our own, but never to the creation of creating God itself. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying. We have that phenomenalism. The distortion is if you see something happening, whether it be your relationship going down, later on you don't realize what's happening. If you see something happen to your child and they're changing, don't be, and I'm going to say this from a personal chapter I'll share with you in the Illumination book. I'm really got to go on that segment because it's pretty deep and I got to have clarity on that because it's very, very deep, emotionally messed up. But if you see something happening to someone and you might think it's, I'm not going to say I forgot how they do it on different videos, but you see something happen to your child where you know some abuse happening, don't distort your perception to knock it off as them just having problems. Okay. If you see someone sitting there in distress or whatever else, distorted could also be negligence. Distortion is negligence as well, because instead of getting to the root of that problem, not stress, you're distorting it to give yourself a perception of what you can live in. But guess what? When the truth comes out and is unveiled, and the end times already are here, right, for the new times to come. So be happy and joyful if you're on the right path and trying to get there. You will see it and you'll be sitting there slapping yourself because you're thinking, I knew the truth the whole time, but I decided I chose to be in distorted perception. I compromised the truth to be in a distortion so I could get through and make it make sense to me. Even though it didn't make sense, I still accepted the distortion that was put in my perception. So this is your red or blue pill for you to say to yourself, what am I being distorted with? Whether it be biblical, whether it be life, whether it be friends, whether it be love, whether it be even you needing to switch careers or whatever might be going on. There's a distortion of perception that's going on inside of us right now. I'm going to tell myself, hey, if I go on DoorDash, no shade, no promotion. If I go on there and order me something right now and I order some stuff that I know is going to make me have a really upset stomach, it's still good for me because I'm being full, right? Distorted perception would say, hey, yeah, but you're going to be on the toll store possibly throwing up later on too. But I'm choosing to choose my perception, even though I know the truth. So if that makes sense, somebody out there, I know it does. I was going to say, this is your girl, Lexus T. I'm going to let Heck do his outro. But thank you for being with us on Truth Seekers Mastermind. There could be a part 2. I'm really feeling I can do part 3 on this.
Yeah.
It is, but it could be. If not, we'll leave it here. However you feel, we hope that you got the deeper seeds of what it is. Conversations that are open. You know, that's what Heck and I are doing. Opening up conversations, talking to you, getting to these conversations where people don't want to touch. They're too scared or they don't want the distortion of people looking at their perception and I don't want to look that way and I don't want to say this. Hey, I'm out here on we're on the chopping block. Say what you want to say. That's what it is. And that perception is not distorted. I'll just let you know that right there. So yeah, love, blessing. Thank you for being on all the platforms that we have from Stitcher, Spreaker, all of them and BF. I'm not going to name them.
All of them.
All of 15 plus. I'll say 17 plus on here and hashtag to our new crew that's opening up and beyond. I'll just say Miss Pretty, if you're on there, for her own disclosure purposes. But for people who are out here to make it a system so we can keep reaching out to you and having conversations. But remember, hashtag God is everything. And as long as you know that, you are everything as well. You could rep anything you want to be in the sense of the natural pure form, because once you're understanding that we all come from one source, you are everything. So don't let anybody put you in their distorted perception just because they can't get out of the matrix that they keep swallowing the wrong pill with. Boom. Let's do it.
Boom. That's it. Love, peace, and blessings. And as you know, the wonderful outro that we have on HVH, we will catch you on the flip side.
Peace.